Hi everyone, it's Michelle. In my studio today with my friend Debbie. She's over here.
Hi everybody.
Debbie and I are sitting here and we decided we're gonna get out the PanPastels and do some blending. Debbie wasn't that familiar with PanPastels. I'm kind of new to them. Lynn Anderson at Blue Knight Rubber Stamps is the one who told me about the PanPastels about 3 weeks ago and reminded me that I had them years ago, but never really mastered using them. So I figured, you know what, it's time to learn something new and expand my skills and try something. So Debbie's here today, and what we did was, before we did the video, we both kind of practiced. There's mine, here's Debbie's, and we just got a feel for it. I've used these. Debbie hasn't used PanPastels in many years and didn't really have a wide collection of colors of her own, so this was a new experience for her, and it's the first time she's created something. So look at this. This is the first time someone made something. I mean, how can you not think that this is pretty amazing? So this is gonna make a beautiful card. So that's Debbie's, that's mine, and here we are. This is what we did. So I'm gonna flip the camera down and we're gonna work on two of the same image, which is Blue Knight's tree with the stream. It's a good image to work with. We're gonna have some sky opportunity, some water, and some landscape, and then the trees. Alrighty, so I'm gonna flip the camera down and we're gonna kind of try to work really quickly so you could follow along. Okay. Here we go.
Am I in it?
Your work is in it, Debbie.
Okay, good.
Where are we? Here we are. Debbie, come in. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the sky. So we're both going to dip into, these are the colors, we're both going to dip into the yellow first. Okay, Debbie, go ahead. And we're going to apply the yellow with, these are just makeup sponges from like the, pharmacy store. And we're going to give us the yellow towards the bottom. Over here where there's small areas, we're going to come in with a makeup brush after this, an eyeshadow brush. So we're going to go about 1/3 of the way up, add some color. Debbie's working over here. You could see her work as well. Let me move the camera a little so you could appreciate what she's doing. Okay, so now I'm going to take this small little eyeshadow brush, this little sponge brush, and I'm going to dip in. It's not really dipping, it's patting. With PanPastels, you pat. You don't want to grind into them. So I'm patting into the color, and I'm going to now fill in all along the landscape line. And it's not even like slow work. It goes rather quickly. I'm coming in between the trees. So is Debbie. She's following along right here. There's Debbie working right here. Where is she? Right there. Okay, so I think we've got basically our yellow filled in already. We're going into the tree area. Okay, are you ready, Debbie, for the next color?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we're gonna take our sponge, just clean off a little bit. We decided this is gonna be our sponge for like reds and greens, even though I had some blue on here. Okay, next we're gonna dip into the yellow, the orange, I'm sorry. So we're gonna go into this nice orange color, and we're gonna just swipe. Let me actually show you on camera. You don't really dig into the product. You're really just swiping this across. So I have my sponge angled and I'm just loading this up. Okay, you really need to just go on there once. And that'll give you enough color because you could always go back and build up again. Now I'm gonna take the orange. Where am I? I want you to see what I'm doing. Where am I? Oh, here I am. And I'm going to just apply the orange. Okay, now I'm adding the orange to this image. I'm coming up close to the trees. I'm going to take a little more orange because I wanted it darker, and I'm building that color. So I don't know if you could see what we're doing. Debbie, move in so they could see you as well. Okay, and I'm just going to come in by the trees, get it in as best as I can. I'm going to go a 3rd time over the orange because I want to really get some good color with that. Are you going over them too, Debbie?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Then I'm going to switch over, and Debbie's going to switch to the little makeup brush again and just dab the orange. And that allows us, with a smaller tool, to get in all around the tree. So I don't know if you could see what I'm doing. I'm going to pick this up while Debbie's working on hers. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just taking this little makeup sponge and going all around the tree, just to fill in the color. Okay, and as soon as Debbie catches up with her tree line, we're going to dip into the red. And that's, believe it or not, that's going to finish off our sunset. So we're almost ready for the next color. Are you ready, Debbie?
Just about.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so now we just need to get our sponge ready for our red. We're going to use this bright red over here. This one. So we're both going to just drag our sponge across it gently. And I'm going to, whoops, I dropped my sponge. I'm going to drag this across and add the red. And I do want to build that up a little bit more. So I'm going to do another application of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe my sponge off a little on the side on my scrap. And I'm going to wait up for Debbie. So when she's ready, we're going to move on to the next step. Tell me when you're ready, Debbie. It can be crooked, Debbie, because that's like nature.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a straight line. I really like your line better than my own. Okay, so now we're going to take our sponge, tap off our extra color. Good. And now we're going to go over the line between the red and the orange and just kind of blend it to get rid, so it doesn't look like a straight line. So can you see the difference already? I'm blending this, and so is Debbie. Can you see hers? Deb, lift up your hand a sec. Look at how this is all blending together. So here's the thing. This is all up to the touch of the person applying it. My touch is a little heavier, and I seem to get like a solid line of color or a solid patch of color. Debbie's much gentler. She doesn't know it's because she's hesitant, she's afraid, or she's just her touch. But she's getting some white areas in hers, which I think on her sample that she did before was absolutely beautiful. Because in nature, the sky is not a solid color. So I love hers because it looks very striated and varied in the color. So I think that hers is awesome. And we both have our own little look. So I've now blended my red into my orange. I'm going to wipe off my sponge on my scrap. Debbie's doing the same. And then I'm going to go down where my yellow is and my orange, and I'm going to blend those two lines. I don't want to go too deep into the yellow because I don't want it to be reduced to a skinny little line. I still want to be able to see yellow at the bottom of this sunset. Okay, so I'm just blending this in. I feel I have too much of a line here, so I'm going to correct that now. I'm going to go back and grab a little more orange. I don't think Debbie needs to do that. I think hers looks great, but I see too much of a line. So I'm going in with orange, and I'm blending that out. So you see how my red line is becoming less? Okay, and I also identify, and I don't know how you feel, Debbie, but I feel like I need a little more yellow at the bottom. Because now the top colors are nice and rich and my yellow looks washed out.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing, but you have to do what looks right to you.
I'll dab a little bit also.
Okay. So guess what, guys? We have our skies done. And, you know, we can go back later and touch up when we're done and we see something, but right now, we're really done. Oh, I do want to show you something else. I have a sand eraser here. I noticed that my yellow got on my tree trunk, and guess what? PanPastels are erasable. So I'm just taking my eraser, and guess what? It's off of my tree trunk, like gone. And I'll show you maybe on a scrap of paper later on what it can do. Well, here, I could show you here. Look at this. Can you see? I'm using the eraser on this. The color is gone. It kind of lifts the color right off. It's erasable. So I think that's pretty remarkable that I was able to take the color off, and which is great for corrections because sometimes when you use permanent markers or watercolor, it's a little hard. Okay, so we want to move along quickly. Debbie's sample is here. She's doing awesome. I love what she's doing, and mine is here. Now we're going to take our little sponge again. I'm just going to clean them off so we get rid of most of the color that's on there. And we're going to dip into this light green over here. We're going to use a couple of greens for this. We're going to use these greens in this area. The first thing we're going to do on the backmost area is we're going to put the lightest color down first. It's almost like a chartreusey kind of green. Okay, again, we're patting. You don't need to dig into your PanPastels. You just pat your sponge on there, pat, 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 and it picks up the color. So here we go. Already, that's finished. Okay, so Debbie knows to hold the sponge flat, Deb. And that way you get the most color going down, okay? Now I want to add some darker color. Well, let me pick this up and show you where we're at. We are now, here we are. I just added this color here, this line of the light green. And there's Debbie's. She's got hers there too. Now we're going to take that same patch of green, We're gonna take our little pointy makeup-y Q-tip. We're gonna go into a darker green. Just tap the tip of it. And we're gonna hold it flat, the same way we work with the sponge. And we're gonna go along the landscape line and kind of swirl the darkness onto that, the darker green. Okay, and that's gonna give some dimension to this. Otherwise you just have color added flat. And this will kind of denote shadowing and texture. So that's what we're doing now. We're adding the darker green. We're not going all the way up to the top though, because we do still want the top area to be lighter. Okay, so I'm just kind of swirling along in a circular motion and blending that in. Debbie's doing the same over here on hers. Okay, so that's done. Now we're gonna go back to this one, this sponge. And we're gonna go into a darker green now. We're gonna start out with this green first, the same dark green we just used. And we're going to fill in the next section of grass, which is over here. There's a little tuft of grass here with some cattails. So we're gonna dip into that. And then while Debbie's doing that, I'll show you this again. I'm gonna just lightly tap one of the darker colors, and I'm gonna bring some of that into this as well. And there's some yellow undertones here, which is nice because it picks up this, you know, the reflections of the sun. So I have a little bit on that Q-tip, so I'm just going over this and using it as a blending color, just because it's on there and it goes well with everything. Okay, I want to be a little bit darker on there, so I'm going with this dark color. Debbie's doing the same. Everything I'm doing here, she's doing on this side. She's blending all of her colors, and they absolutely look beautiful. She's going to hold that up for you in a second and show you what she did, because the blending is really, really pretty. Okay, are you ready to share, Deb?
Yes, I am.
Okay, this is Debbie's. She's down, Deb. You got to put it down. There you go. Whoops, here we go. She's got some beautiful blending going on here. And this is mine. We're using the same color palette, both of us, so everything we do is very similar. It's just different because of the touch we have and how much color we're picking up. Okay, we're ready to move on now. Last grass colors. We're going to do this large piece down here under the trees. So we're going to pick up our lighter of the greens again and kind of just go over all of that. It's like so quick. Look, I've already applied the color. I'm like done with that first layer. It's just unbelievable how quickly you can create these cards and how beautifully. Okay, so we've got that. I do have to tell you, they do get on your hands and they get a little bit messy sometimes, but you can clean it up. And also if I'm blending over it with similar colors, it's kind of okay. Plus this is going to be cropped down. So ordinarily I'm very OCD with my work. This would drive me crazy if this was marker coloring, but I could deal with it on here. Okay. All right. Now I just want to darken this up a little bit. So Debbie, we're going to take the darkest of these colors that we used before, and we're just going to bring some of that in along the bottom, just to give this some depth so that it's not just flat green. Okay, and we always just tap, tap, tap. We never drag into the PanPastels because you're just going to create a bunch of powder. Okay, and so I have the color down, but I don't want it to look like it's a straight line. Where are we? We're right here. So I'm going to blend a little gently with this brush. And that's done. And now we're ready to move on to the water. So are you done with this palette, Debbie?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm going to put the cover. These palettes come with the cover, which is really nice. It protects your colors, and they're stackable. They don't take up a lot of room. So the Blue Night ones are going to be 7 colors in a palette, so they'll be a smaller palette, but they're going to look the same and handle the same way. So I have that. And now we're going to work with some of the blues to create our watercolors. Okay? All right, Debbie, you ready for the water?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We're going to use this color first. I'm going to have to turn my work, guys, so that I can work better. We're filling in the water. You can see how quickly this goes. You really just are adding this color in. I like to go a little lighter to start because my feeling is, my belief is you can always add and build on the color. It just makes it nicer for how I like to blend. So this is so pretty. This is such a beautiful image to work with, and it's got a little of everything. So if you're learning to use PanPastels, this is a great image for that. Okay, I'm gonna take a little more of the blue and blend it in. We're almost done, believe it or not. Okay, so we've got this happening now. I think I'm going to bring in a tiny bit of this darker color right next to that and just bring in for some shadowing close to the grassy pieces. I'm going to use this next to the grassy pieces just to make it look like some shadowing. Like, you know, when you're near the shoreline, how near the shore is darker? So I'm going to just do that. What do you think? Do you like that look?
Looks good.
Okay. Alrighty. So guess what? We have water to show you. Want to see? Here's mine. Debbie's just finishing up, so I'll show you mine first. And we're going to be ready to move on to the trees next. But look at that. Can you believe how fast this goes and how beautiful the finish is? All right, here's Debbie's coming up. Down a little, Deb. There you go. There you go. Debbie, I love it. Pretty. Are you happy with it?
Very happy.
Good job, Deb. High five. Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, we're on to the trees. So we have our greens out already. I'll show you guys. We're going to move into like these green tones over here, this area. So we're going to clean off our little makeup sponges a little bit. They seem like a good size. To work with the big sponge on the trees is kind of not the greatest. This seems like the best. Now, so listen, these are like cosmetic sponges, but I have to tell you, it's great. We all love our bargains. If you're going to do this instead of buying the PanPastel actual soft tools, they call them, that's great, and I'm all for it because you see we're using them. But don't go with the really cheap, because they're full of air, the sponges, and before you know it, the plastic comes through. These, at least you can get some use out of them. And if you're really thrifty, you can rinse them if you want. However, I just throw them away after they start to wear down a little bit. Like this one's starting to split. But I've used it now. I've made cards with it. So if you get these, don't buy the cheapest stuff. You don't have to buy expensive pro ones, but just buy something that's a decent quality. And it's just little makeup brushes, eyeshadow, okay? All right, so we're going to move on now. I'm going to start with this green, Debbie. What about you?
Sounds good.
Okay, so can you see me working? I'm trying to do it so you can see. Are you in, Deb? Here you go. There's Debbie. Okay, so now, you know, the trees aren't a rectangular, triangular shape, so we're going to go a little bit into the sky area where the branches extend. And we're really just rubbing it on in a circular motion. And when we feel like we need more color, we're dipping into the color. And we're just blending, blending, blending. And we're dabbing, like I know you can't see us. We're not doing this across the pan. We're dabbing, and it picks up enough color. I'll show you my next time I dab over there what happens with the sponge. Okay, so I'm dabbing it now off screen. And then look, there's my color. It's all on there, and now it's going to transfer right onto my image. And a little bit goes a long way. If you're seeing a lot of dust on your work, you know that you're either digging into it or you're carrying off too much of the pigment onto your sponge, and you're really just wasting it, and it's getting all over your work. So that's the hints that you've done a little too much picking up of the color. All right, I've got my base down, and so does Debbie, and I think we need to give these trees a little bit of texture. So we're going to go and just wipe over the next darker tone, just to give this a little bit of color. And I'm randomly placing it down.
Which color did you
I use this one, Debbie. Do you think that's a good one?
Sure.
Okay, and I'm just basically going over where those branches are. There's part of this image is detail that has branches. So I'm just going over it. Now my other one that I showed you, my practice piece, I chose to make it more autumn-like, and I put some red colors onto my tree and orange to make like leaves were turning. But this one I'm going to do just green. So I'm adding on the darker green now. And I also know that if I add a little bit of a brighter color, it's going to brighten up this tree a little, and there it is. So, Debbie, we didn't do this before, but if you dab this and you go here, like in between the branches, you're going to brighten up this whole tree.
Oh, good.
Okay? So it's this one. And see where I'm going? I'm just going in between. And not all the way out to the edge. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And it's like the tree's bright. You see the difference?
Yep.
Now when we did that, now it makes me want to go back to the darker green and trim off the edges with the darker. Can you reach, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so when Debbie's finished, we are going to do a couple little things to this image. I'm going to share with you, Deb.
Okay.
I'll take half of this, okay? I only need half. Okay, so here we are. We are done, I think. But I'm looking at mine, so I'm picking this up, this little pointy one, and I'm just getting a color, just a little bit of a landscape color, and I want to finish off because I see some white at the top of my landscape. I don't know if you have any white showing, Debbie, but I want to cover mine up. I don't want it to show.
Where's the yellow?
I just use that one. It's just because it's just for a touch-up. And it brings some nice color to it.
Yes.
Debbie, I love your watercolors. They're different than mine. They're different because you used more of the blue than I did.
Yes.
Beautiful. Oh, yay us. I think we're awesome.
So easy.
Yeah. What do you think, Deb?
Beautiful.
All right. So now, as soon as Debbie's done,
okay,
we are gently going to take a paper towel. This is my thing. This is not a rule. It's not an artist's procedure, something they do. I'm just cleaning off my image because there is some residue on here. Okay, Debbie's got two. She's just wiping it off. Okay, so we're done with that. Now what we want to do is we decided we wanted some birds in this. So we're all set up. I have my little handy dandy Blue Night magnetic ink pad holder, which I love because now I don't have to hold on to the ink pads. I could just do this. And we're using Gina K's amalgam ink, which I love. All right, so we have our bird on here, but I always check when I'm stamping right onto a piece I finished. I never take a chance that I know what I'm doing. So I always take the image, I stamp it on the side, and see if he's in the position I want. So I'm going to put one over here. I'm going to put one down here. And these little spots are actually birds as well. They're built into the stamp. And I'm going to put one over here. Okay, Debbie's going to place hers where she wants. So here's mine finished. If I choose to put a sentiment, I could do it here, but truthfully, I think I'm leaving mine as a note card. How about you, Debbie?
I think so too.
Note card?
A note card, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now the last step I have to tell you about is you can go to an art store, or Amazon, or Michael's, or any place that you shop for your art supplies, and you can pick up a fixative. You can get Spectra, which is great. It's, you know, the less toxic. It's not toxic, I believe, non-toxic. You can buy Krylon, but all those you have to spray outside. When I went to Dick Blick, they showed me some products. They did a demonstration for me. They sprayed over a few pieces that were done with PanPastels, and I saw some spotting, and I would be heartbroken if I made a card and all of a sudden it was destroyed because I tried to seal it. So I did a lot of reading online and spoke to some other people that use PanPastels, and they were like, if you get a fine mist, good quality hairspray, you're set. So I don't use hairspray a lot, but this is mine that I use. It's about between $12 and $15 a can. It's called Nexus Comb Through. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take this off screen and I'm going to give it a light mist. And when I spray this, nothing happens to my image. And when it dries, it's going to look as beautiful as ever. So it has a little moisture on it now because I just sprayed it, but it's going to dry and it's going to be perfect. And then guess what? I don't have to worry anymore about it smearing or getting onto the envelope when I make a card with it. Had I not sealed it, I would have had smearing. So Debbie's spraying hers.
She sprayed the other one.
She's going to show me her work. We're going to show you both of our things in a second.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm done. Here I am. Here's Debbie. Hers is drying as well. And guess what else you're going to see? You're going to see Debbie and I say goodbye now. Debbie, ready to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye, guys. It's been fun making these cards with you. We just wanted to show you what we were doing today in my studio. I hope that if you're going to get the PanPastels that you know, refer back to this video, because there's a lot of little helpful tips in here, and you can watch us work and realize how quickly it goes. So this weekend, Blue Night Rubber Stamps is releasing their kind of custom put together select colors. Sunsets and sunrises is one collection, 7 colors. The other palette is for the skies. So I think it's day and night skies it's called. I think they're going to be $49.95 for the palette of 7, which is great. And you will always be able to just reach for them and create the skies that you want to. And actually the blues in there could transpose onto water as well. So thank you so much for watching with Debbie and I. We love sharing our day in my studio with you, and I hope that you found some inspiration here with us. Have a great day.